Welcome to the Library Show. It's our first show of the new year, and it's wintertime, of course, but we're going to start with some really terrific folks. And the first person is Alicemarie Collins. I had the great pleasure of meeting Alicemarie Collins from Gladwyne Library some years ago where we talked about kids' books. She was then the children's librarian. In fact, we talked about graphic books, which are an interesting topic all in and of itself, but I'm not going to talk about graphic books. I'm going to talk about Alicemarie. Alicemarie, welcome.
Hi.
I understand that you're now the director at Gladwyne, Carolyn Conti having retired. So first I want to offer congratulations to you.
Thank you.
How did that happen? Yeah, how did that happen? Did you sort of put your name in the ring, or did they pick you? How does that process work?
So the way it worked, well, first of all, I've been with Gladwyne for over 24 years. So I know the workings of it. I know the patrons. I know the people. I know the staff. I know the board members. So I know the library, all the details. Although being the children's librarian, I would help out upstairs. I would do processing, help with the money, I did ordering from young adult through children's. So it wasn't a huge transition for me. So the way it worked is Carolyn was leaving. They needed someone to step up, and I had my MLIS. So I said I would be acting head, and then then they have to get approval to obviously get the head position. They've got to put it out, and that went out. I don't know how many candidates they had, but that went out after a couple months, and I applied and interviewed and got the position. They were actually applying for 2 positions because the head at Ardmore left as well around the same time. She left sometime in June, and Carolyn left July 1st. So it was a big transition, a lot for HR to do. So they offered me the acting head position, which I accepted. And then we interviewed, and I started officially as the head librarian October 24th. And they put the newsletter out, and our fund drive newsletter just went out. And so a lot of the patrons are coming in, and they said they're very happy. And that makes me feel good. They're like, great choice. We're so happy. We're so excited. So it's been really good.
That's terrific. I think people really do identify with their local library, especially if they're frequent patrons. And it sounds like they got not just a gem in you, but somebody with so much experience. It's a good demonstration of how experience matters. It really does. The other thing I like to ask people when they come into a new job in the library system is, what ideas do you have for the future now that you're in this new position? Do you see anything that you've always wanted to change, or you always thought needed some tweaking? I'm not saying that you would do anything wholesale, but some tweaking now that you're in this position at Gladwyne?
Well, I was actually just talking to Carolyn about something yesterday, and we were laughing. I told her I had my interview today, and I'm like, she goes, tell her that you are going to change everything in the library. Just everything. I started laughing. I'm like, no, we actually, we have a good crew. One of the things that we've really been focusing on, and we actually did start it, I would say, in the last 2 years with Carolyn, which we're building on, is getting more programming across the board, not just kids, but adults. We're really working on getting those teens and tweens in. And we have the person who took our 29-hour position is doing an amazing job, has so many ideas, and is putting them into effect. And so she's getting an adult base for programming. And then Brian, who does more like online stuff and like things from like the Museum of the American Revolution, that type of programming. We're seeing more patrons with that. So we're trying to get more programming. So we're focusing a lot on programming. And then Kathleen has a lot of great ideas, the new children's librarian. And so we've been talking about that stuff, like outreach, like how can we do, like we go to Weatherall School, but what about the other, preschools that are around us? How can we reach them? And our story time has really grown. Okay, are we going to do another story time? If we do another story time, how do we be good about it and be like, okay, so you came to this one. Now we want to focus on these people. We're kind of like breaking up the story time so we can do more at story time with the kids. Because if it gets too big, there's not much you can do. Like you can do songs and maybe stories, but if you really want to do like a really good story time, you need to limit the number of patrons that you have.
Well, that makes sense.
So yeah, so we're doing things like that. We rearranged some stuff. We've been doing a lot of weeding, because with streaming and stuff, that's the other thing you consider. Am I buying audiobooks now? Am I keeping up with DVDs? What am I doing about music? So we're looking, we've done some weeding back there because we have an AV room, looking at moving stuff around back there. We've just been more looking at things and what can we move around and make it more interesting to the patrons. And I did it myself. I'm not supposed to, but I moved some stuff around in the children's room.
Okay.
And I moved shelves. I'm not supposed to be doing that. But the patrons love it, the way it's set up now. So things like that, like Kathleen had some really good ideas about upstairs, changing how we show our new books, both fiction and nonfiction. And then that kind of spirals, which is great because then somebody else says, well, what if we do this? And maybe over here, we could do this. So we're doing a lot of that, like rearranging stuff to make it pop more to the public and see how that works. But what I like, what is Carolyn built is a really good interactive team that feeds off of each other in a good, positive way, that has great ideas. And they're very, especially programming wise, they're very excited about it because, I was children's librarian for 24 years. You get a little burnout. It's not that you don't love the kids, you don't love the materials, but after 24 years, you start to get stale when you're doing it by yourself. And now these people come in and they're excited about programming and just really want to draw the public in. And we're working on things like that. I'm actually working with the board. We're going to have a community day to celebrate our patrons in the spring. So things like that is what we're doing. We have seen more traffic. We've seen a lot of new faces.
Oh, that's great.
The big joke right now is that we're drawing patrons to our story times from other, that are their libraries.
Ooh, ouch.
So, I mean, it's just funny because I'm sure they go all around to the libraries, but the fact that everyone's really excited that, they want to come here. They want to come to our story times. They tell us how cute our library is. So it's exciting for us, but it makes it hard. We're not 100% fully staffed yet, but everybody works really hard, and I'm just blessed. We have a fantastic staff, so I'm very fortunate.
You do. That is terrific. Can I ask a personal question, which is it at all likely that Gladwyne will bring back the March plant sale that it had for so many years? I know that was put aside in the face of COVID, but
no, that's not what happened.
Oh,
so what happened was the person who was running it, had to give it up, but information wasn't transferred so that we could continue it. But the other thing that had happened was that it was slowly going down to begin with because other people started doing plant sales at the same time. So it wasn't unique to Gladwyne anymore. It was like finally people looked at us and were like, oh, we could do this. We could have this. And then it draws away the people. Sure. And then, of course, you have your big, you have Home Depot, you have Lowe's, you have Produce Junction. All those things combined just dropped over the years how much money they were making. And it takes a tremendous amount of effort to do that. And then, unfortunately, the other thing that happened was we just could not get new patrons in to the Gladwyne Library League, volunteers to help. So unfortunately, our treasurer from the Gladwyne Library League just retired, Pam Fish, amazing. So it's actually been folded back into the Gladwyne board.
Got it.
So
Are you doing arts and crafts show still? Didn't you do an arts and
we are
crafts?
still doing the arts and crafts show. We are still doing the junior author contest, but all those things have now been folded into the board and are now going to be more integrated with us as Gladwyne Library.
Okay.
Because see, when Gladwyne Library League did things, we really didn't have much to do with them. Like they handled everything because they had a big group of people and volunteers to help. Over the years, it's just gone down and down, and they haven't been able to get new members. So I was just talking to Ann Foot yesterday, and we were laughing. She goes, "I'm the last of the league," and I'm like, "Ann, there is no league anymore."
Well,
I'm
Anne
like, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say Anne had been on this program talking about the arts and crafts and some other things in the past. So if there's no league, we'll just have to find somebody new. What a wonderful base of volunteers you have, though.
Yeah, for the board,
format.
we have some really young, really, I don't want to say gung-ho, but like really excited about being on the board and doing things, which is good.
Do you need any extra board members at the moment? Or are you all filled up, so to speak?
No, we're actually looking for new board members.
Okay, I want to make that public right here and now so that anyone watching will say, oh, I'd love to be on the Gladwyne board and working with you as a head librarian and working with the other terrific members of the staff. Thank you very much. I know this went really quickly, Alicemarie, but there's so much going on. Sounds like a fun place to be, Gladwyne Library. Thank you for being on.
Tell them to come visit us.
Super, we will. Here we go. Go visit Gladwyne and the other Lower Merion libraries. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with The Library Show. Welcome to this first episode of The Library Show for the new year. It may be winter, but there are lots of things happening at our libraries. It struck me that one of the things that happens most often is that the libraries appeal to people at all ages and stages of life, whether they're our youngest patrons who are just being introduced to the libraries, as Donita Brown is doing at Ardmore this month, or seniors who come in to read magazines, or perhaps the Luddington program where people can come to the library and play board games. But that's not all that's happening. We are having authors. And boy, if you look at the newsletter for the Lower Merion Library System, you would be stunned, as I am, by the number of authors who appear at the different libraries over the course of a year. This month, the Bala Library is having a new young author, and I've asked Autumn Cavalcante, who is a library assistant in the area of circulation, to come in and talk to us, not only about how he got to the library, but how you can go and hear him. Autumn, welcome to the Library Show.
Thank you so much for having us on.
So this young man's name, I'm saying young man, he's young, right? He's in his 20s?
I don't know his exact age, but yes, he's young.
He's young. Okay, that's all right.
Isaac.
I didn't mean to sound as if I was discriminating on the basis of age at either end of the spectrum. But he's written a book, and it sounds like a really interesting book. His name is Isaac Rubin, and I don't know very much more about him than that. Can you tell us about him and about this book, please?
Isaac Blum.
Blum. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Isaac, we are fortunate to learn about Isaac's book rather early because Isaac's aunt used to work here at the library, and he is part of our neighborhood. So we learned about his book early on from him, from his aunt, I should say. And she's a good friend of the library. She got us in touch with him. We got in touch with him, and he was very quick to say yes. I think I heard along the way that he was a page here back in his teenage years at some point. So he's, like I said, he knows our library very well. He grew up around here.
You could tell the audience who his aunt is, because others may have fond memories of her, as I do.
Roz Warren. Roz, who was here for many years, and she herself is a writer. You guys may know some of her Chicken Soup for the Soul pieces that she's written for those books, and she's got a lot of humorous stuff out there.
Oh, yeah. I remember going to an event at Bala Library where Roz spoke, and she was delightfully entertaining, wonderful person. And she'd actually been on the library show.
Very
also.
talented writer.
Yes, wonderful. A wonderful addition to the staff. A really, a person who people knew when they came into the circulation desk, they knew Roz. And there's a public out there waiting to know Isaac Blum. So is this a book for a younger audience or for anybody?
This book is great. It's probably considered young adult, but I see just as many adults reading it as well. So it is a great young adult book. Slightly older. He's a teenager. He's 16 or 17, I think, maybe about headed to college.
Okay.
So great book for young adult and adult.
And it's a contemporary story, not science fiction or fantasy.
Contemporary story. If you'd like a little background into it, it's Isaac's debut novel. Like I said, Isaac grew up in this area. We meet his main character, Hoodie, who's an Orthodox teenager. And you'll see if you read the book, if you live here and read the book, you'll see how Isaac ties in what he's learned from growing up around here. But it's about Hoodie's complicated story of two different worlds coming together because he develops a friendship with a non-Jewish girl in the neighborhood. So it's how he navigates this relationship. And Hoodie, I'll tell you, has laugh out loud moments. Isaac gave his character a really great sense of humor. You'll have some laugh out loud moments. But you'll also have some heartbreaking, impactful moments because the book does make you really reflect on identity, diversity, and sadly, anti-Semitism, which, is a very relevant topic today.
It is. Is the name of the book Hoodie?
The name of the book is The Life and Crimes of Hoodie Rosen. I wish I had a copy to show you, but there are actually a couple holds on it right now, so our copy is out. But I highly recommend people get on the list. But yeah, unfortunately, I can show you if you can see. This is, I don't know if this is backwards, but this is what it looks like. The Life and Crimes of Hoodie Rosen. The author is Isaac Blum.
So people who are inspired by what you're saying will have to go online and quick reserve a copy because there's already holds on this book, yes. I guess. All right. Well,
yes.
Now let's talk about the date and the details. It's January 12th.
Yeah. The program is January 12th in person, 7:30 p.m. at our library, the Bala Cynwyd Library, in our meeting room. So our second floor meeting room. So you would go to our Lower Merion Library's website to register for it. If you go to lmls.org, go to our calendar of events, January 12th, and you'll see a register now button.
Okay. And is there any cost?
And you can always also call the library and we can get you registered that way as well.
Is there any cost involved in attending this?
Absolutely not. We are very grateful that our programs can be free to the public, thanks to, help from the public with fundraising and donations, but we're very fortunate that we can offer free programs.
That's super duper. Meantime, there are other things happening at Bala this month. Let's talk about some of those, because if you're the program person, you must know all about them.
Well, I'm the adult program person, but I can tell you, we don't have a date chosen yet, but every month we do have tech Q&A where patrons can sign up. You register for that as well. Sign up, come in, you get 30-minute sessions with our tech guru here, and you can ask them anything you want to know about your iPhones, logging on to Libby, Canopy, Kindles. So you can register for that. You can have 30-minute sessions with our tech guru. The tech Q&A, we will have a date set for that shortly. So that'll also be on our calendar as well. The children's department always has great programs going on. They've got Kids Art, which is a drawing class. It'll be Sunday, January 22nd at 1:30. Registration required, but once again, it's Kids Art drawing class. And then we have something fascinating to me, Kalmashibai. I hope I said it right. Japanese street theater storytelling.
Oh,
One of
my.
our colleagues upstairs, Suzanne, is going to do a program on this street theater, and that'll be January 29th. That's also a Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Registration for that as well. But it is the art of Japanese storytelling, and it first started out as street theater. So
Wow.
definitely, yeah. I hope I said it right. Kalmashibai. I think that's how it is.
The only word I know is no theater, NOH, and that's a brand new one to me. Sounds fascinating. Can I go back for a moment? You said something about knowing Libby. Is Libby an acronym for something having to do with technology? If you know a certain aspect of that? Or is that
Libby is the application that we use here at the library for our digital resources, our audiobooks, our ebooks. We also have one called Hoopla, but patrons have access to a digital library. And if they don't know how to access the library, we can certainly walk them through it. It's an app you can download on your phone, or you can access it through a web browser. But it's incredible the number of items we have available to Lower Merion cardholders, audiobooks, ebooks, movies. That's Hoopla. But yep, if you need any help with that, our tech guru can help you with that.
Meet Libby, the new app to let you discover and instantly enjoy thousands of ebooks and audiobooks from your library. Yes, your public library. One tap to find a library near you. One tap to discover something new. One tap to read or listen to that book you won't be able to put down. One tap to a shelf that has everything you've borrowed and all the books you want to read. One tap to finding your next great read at any library you belong to. It's so easy. All you need to get started is a library card. Download the app designed to get you reading as quickly and seamlessly as possible. Libby, happy reading.
Fantastic resources.
The patrons of Lower Merion Library System are extremely lucky with the level of electronic help, of human help, of things that we can. I think people who don't use the system may think that all it's about is books, and they are wrong, because there is so much more than books available through the Lower Merion Library System. The people who sign up, can they bring their kids to this discussion with Isaac Blum?
Well, we do have limited registration. We're still trying to, keep people socially distanced. So we would prefer a registration for each person that would be coming.
Are there children's storytelling events still going on at the library?
There are Tuesdays in person, also an event you need to register for, but Tuesdays at 10:30, I believe it is. Yep. You can come in and there's children's story time every Tuesday.
That's something the children's librarians are doing, right?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. There's a lot going on upstairs.
I love the children's department there. And not least, although it's not the major thing, is that wall with that marvelous, marvelous mosaic picture of all the famous classic books and the author and the characters. And the fact that people come back to see that generation after generation. I love that. I think that's a unique thing about Bala Cynwyd, that when the library was renovated several years back, that was maintained. There was not even a thought, not even a glimmer of changing that. And people do love it. So, and I assume that some of the storytelling happens in the fall.
Yep.
Okay. Just things that are memorable. Are there any other authors who might be appearing later in this year?
We're still working on that. We're working on our spring lineup.
Okay, but you will have a spring lineup. There will be authors there. Okay, that is really very encouraging. But Autumn, I thank you very, very much. Is there anything that I've left out that you would like to add?
No, I don't think so. I just hope to see people. I hope they can get a hold of the Hoodie Rosen book and they enjoy it as much as I did, and hope to see them there.
Is that book in the local bookstores? Is it
it's widely distributed, I'm assuming. Okay.
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very, very much, Autumn. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching the library show. We appreciate it, and we thank both Autumn Cavalcante and Alicemarie Collins for being on. Have a good winter and happy reading.